The Stranger Things Season 5 theory will literally break your heart and soul. The biggest clue for Season 5 of Stranger Things is actually in the posters for Season 4. Last season, we know that a lot of the cast members, they were kind of split up. Everyone was in kind of their own location. So our main crew who was in California, if we look at their posters show California. I'm gonna zoom in right there, put a little circle on it for you. Okay, California. But if we go over to the cast that was in Russia, they were in like a prison, y'all. So yeah, on their poster, there's actually the prison right there. Kind of ominous, but yeah, there's a prison. And when we look at Eleven's poster, we can actually see the lab in hers. But there's one character poster that's very out of the normal, specifically because they were never in this place during the season. And this is now where we have to go to the Creel house. And we can see the Creel house right here. But there's another character who has the Creel house on their poster. Mike's mom, Karen Wheeler. Hold on, this is way weird. Because she was not there. Or was she? The theory is that Karen is grown-up Alice, aka the sister to Vecna. Or Henry, as he was known then. The theory is that she actually survived the attack and has just been brainwashed, or maybe she lost her memory, and she completely has forgotten what happened. And don't tell me that's impossible, nobody survives the attacks, because Max did. Okay, yeah, she's in a little bit of a predicament at the moment, but she did survive. And maybe Alice did too. Maybe she was in a similar state as Max. Maybe she was in a coma and lost the memory. Okay, if this theory is correct, then maybe Alice has a lot more to play in Vecna's demise. Y'all, I got like 5 of these crazy theories, so if you want to know what's possibly gonna happen to Steve and Max, go check out my last 2 videos. But if you want to know what happens to 11, go check out the next. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what are your guys' unhinged theories for Season 5?
I do not think Stranger Things forgot Will's birthday. I think it's an Easter egg for what his arc is going to be in Season 5. Walk with me. If you don't already know what I'm talking about, the day that Mike, Will, and Eleven go roller skating is March 22nd, which is Will's birthday, and not a single character remembered. Now, I know the writers said that this is a production error, but I don't believe them, because there are so many signs that suggest otherwise. First of all, there was a 1 in 365 chance of randomly choosing the day March 22nd, and shots like this have to be edited into the show. Why even include it if you didn't want us to notice the date? I also want to point out that in the background of that same scene, you can see presents and balloons. This is birthday imagery. A few episodes later, Murray tells Joyce that there are certain things you can be late to in life, like a kid's birthday, because no one's gonna remember anyways. There's a phone number on the Surfer Boy pizza van, which when this episode came out, fans called and noticed that it played the happy birthday tune. If you look in the the window display at Family Video, there's a poster of 16 Candles, which is a movie about a girl's family forgetting her birthday. And there's a card in Will's room hanging on his wall that says, "I forgot your birthday." Any one of these pieces of evidence on their own could be considered coincidental, but as a composite, I don't think they are. So what are the writers actually trying to tell us here? Remember, Vecna tells Eleven that he can go into people's minds and memories. Guess what the episode is called in which everyone forgets Will's birthday? Vecna's Curse. I think Jonathan, Mike, and Joyce are under Vecna's curse, and that is why they forgot Will's birthday. It would also explain the season 4 posters, because Matt Duffer confirmed that the reason Max is looking away is this is a clue to the audience that she's under Vecna's influence. But notice how Jonathan, Mike, and Joyce are also looking away. The same 3 characters that were in the room when Joyce originally said that Will's birthday is March 22nd. And remember, we now know Vecna was watching here. Why would Vecna want to make them forget Will's birthday? Because memories break through Vecna's curse. We saw it here. That's why Will turned on the Mind Flayer. We also saw it with Max when she was hiding in a happy memory, and with Billy when remembering his mom made him turn on the hive mind. Putting everything together, I think this production error was actually a clue that Vecna is erasing memories of Will. Why? Because it makes him almost impossible to break out of Vecna's curse in season 5 when he targets him.
Uy!
This is undeniably the craziest Stranger Things theory of all time. It's called the 815 theory, and it's very long, very confusing, and very complex, so make sure to pay attention. And this theory starts all the way back in season 1, episode 1, whenever Will Byers gets taken. And if you look at the timestamp where Will was taken, it was actually at the 815 mark. So essentially the theory is the 815 timestamp in every single season plays a crucial role to the storyline, and will do that same thing in season 5. So like I said, the first important event that happened at the 815 timestamp was Will Byers getting taken in season 1, episode 1. And later in that episode, Joyce called Karen to ask where Will was, and Karen said Will left 8:15, meaning 8:15. She was saying Will left the house at 8:15. And it only gets crazier from here. In season 1, episode 3, Lucas at the 8:15 mark says, "I will shoot it in the eye." And that was him foreshadowing himself shooting the Demogorgon in the eye in season 1, episode 8. And in season 2, episode 1, at the 8:15 mark, Will Byers senses the Mind Flayer for the first time, which is obviously a huge moment in the storyline and for Will's story. And later in that episode, Eleven was complaining to Hopper saying, "You said you would be home at 8:15, and Hopper said it's not 8:15, it's 8:15. More references to the 8:15 timestamp. And then in season 2, episode 3, Dustin found the book at the library that he used to name Dart. A pretty significant moment as well. And in season 2, episode 7, the episode that everyone hates, Eleven spots 8/Callie's hideout at the 8:15 mark in season 2, episode 7, which is when she was visiting Callie, of course. And it only gets crazier from there. In season 3, episode 1, at the 8:15 timestamp in the show, Dustin gets interrupted by a Russian message on his huge walkie-talkie satellite thing that he was trying to use to communicate to Susie with. At the 8:15 mark, he heard the Russian message, which is of course the entire storyline of season 3 and part of the storyline in season 4. So far, with all the 8:15 timestamp references that I've mentioned, there have been several foreshadows. So this next one is potentially a foreshadow for season 5, because at the 8:15 mark in season 3, Will Byers says during a D&D game to Lucas and Mike, he says this: "Are you guys willing to sacrifice yourself and become heroes?" Will Byers says that to Mike and Lucas during the D&D game. So the theory is, maybe since that was at the 8:15 mark, that will be a foreshadow for season 5. And of course, Lucas and Mike will sacrifice themselves. In season 3, episode 8, at the 1 hour and 8:15 mark, Heroes starts playing, and obviously that was a pretty huge moment as well. And in season 4, episode 4, Murray makes a joke about being late to a birthday party at the 8:15 mark, and of course that's the Duffers referencing Will's birthday and them missing it or not mentioning it in the show. In season 4, episode 6, at the 8:15 mark, Eleven enters the Nina Project for the first time. And of course that's where she restored her memories and began the path to becoming a superhero again. So like I said, the theory is at the 8:15 timestamp, important things happen and important things are foreshadowed at the 8:15 timestamp. So if you go through every single 8:15 timestamp in Stranger Things, there's going to be several foreshadows in season 5 if the theory is true. And the Duffers use this timestamp as a time slot to make significant things happen. And that will probably happen in season 5 if the pattern continues. Obviously, like I said, it's super complex, but it's also super intriguing, and it's one of my favorite theories in Stranger Things, and I 100% hope it happens in the final season. Let me know what you guys think about this theory, and if you think it makes sense at all. And if you guys want more Stranger Things content like this, then be sure to like and follow for more.